Hi, and welcome back, writers of articles. If you are watching this slideshow, watching this video, then you've selected writing articles as your chosen genre of study. I am here to help you study and eventually write articles of your own. So let's get started. Craft is what we're looking at this week, and craft refers to the decisions writers make to create engaging, effective pieces of writing. This is the news article tasting from last week. If you wanted to take a look at this again, you may simply stop the video and take a look on the slideshow. This lesson for this week was actually inspired by a question that many of you had on your Google Forms or reflections this week. And you wondered, can you include opinions in articles or just the facts? I thought that was a great question, and I hope I have a great answer. So the short answer is it really depends on the what and the who, the audience and the author's purpose. So the who would be your audience. Who's the author trying to reach? Who will read the article? And what? What is the purpose? What's the author's goal? Is the author trying to persuade us as readers or just inform us? So when we're looking at sports articles and current events, which I talked about in the tasting video, we know that those may include subtle or indirect author opinions. For example, readers may notice that an author favors an athlete or disapproves of a current political movement in these types of articles. However, these articles are largely meant to inform readers rather than persuade them of something. Editorials, on the other hand, show the author's clear or direct opinions. The author, in this case, is actively trying to persuade the audience to do or think something differently. So the author's opinion should be clear to readers. However, just as in an argument piece, as we did this year, opinions will typically be supported by factual evidence. So craft move number one that we're going to look at today, one that will help you as writers, is that writers of articles provide specific facts, statistics, quotes, and or examples. So why is this an important craft move for writers of articles, you ask? Well, this gives the reader needed information on the topic or subject of the article, shows the author's credibility as an author or an expert on this particular topic or subject, makes the article memorable or impactful for the reader, and avoids generalization of the topic or subject, really makes the article more specific. So I could say, wow, that's a lot of money. Or I could say $89,526,124. Can you see how that number might have more of an impact on a reader than simply saying that's a lot of money? Likewise, we could say that's a lot of users, or we could say 185,244 users. Again, more of an impact when we give this large number. We could say that something was a total success, or we could say that 100% of the goal was achieved. You may choose to use a pie chart. An image, some sort of graphic or a pie chart might be impactful to the reader. Instead of saying something like, over half of Pennsylvanians agree, we show them this large part of the pie chart, and it gives them a visual image that might be more helpful to the reader. So let's look at a couple of mentor texts. We're going to start with the sports article, and we're going to look at when authors might use facts, statistics, quotes, or examples to support their writing. This is an excerpt from an article called "By Winning on an Off Day, Simone Biles Shows How Great She Really Is." Simone Biles is an Olympic gymnast, and this is about one of her events. She crushed the floor routine, soaring so high on her tumbling passes that fans had to crane their necks to see her. She actually had so much power on the first pass that she put one foot out of bounds to steady herself, but the rest was dazzling. By the end, Landy, Biles' coach, was clapping his hands above his head. Biles' score was 15, a full point better than Murakami's, and her 6.6 difficulty score was the highest of the night on any event. That defines everything that she is. That's why she's the best in the world, Landy said. Because otherwise, it's like you're in the middle of the pack. You want to differentiate yourself. So in this particular excerpt, the author uses numbers to highlight Biles's achievement. Biles's score was 15, a full point better than Murakami's, and her 6.6 difficulty score was the highest of the night on any events. So think about this. Why didn't the author choose to simply say Biles was successful? Or in the quote from her coach, when he says, that defines everything that she is. And that's why she's the best in the world, Landy said, because otherwise it's like you're in the middle of the pack. You want to differentiate yourself. What impact might this quote from Biles's coach have on readers of the article instead of the author just talking about how the athlete needed to differentiate herself? Think about that for just a moment. Pause the video if you're following along with me. So why didn't the author choose to simply say that Biles had a successful meet? Well, the author is avoiding generalization, as we just talked about. Readers know exactly what the scores were instead of just that one of the athletes' score was better than the others. It really makes it more specific for the reader. It also shows the author's credibility as an author or expert on the topic or subject. The author clearly did their homework and can report on the results of the event with authority without just saying, she did well. In the quote, why might this have an effect on readers? It makes the article memorable or impactful. Sure, the author could have said that the athlete was different from other athletes, but hearing this from a coach who actually knows the sport and this would have a greater impact on the reader. Let's look at another text. I know some of you were kind of thinking, how is sports article writing different than editorial writing? Editorial writing, as we've said, is a bit more subjective, and we know that. However, we can still use facts, statistics, examples, and quotes in order to back up what we're saying in an editorial. So let's look at this excerpt from Let's Learn to Love Leftovers and Fight Food Waste. This leeriness towards leftovers is costing us and costing our planet in overburdened water and energy supplies and greenhouse gas emissions. Consider this, up to 40% of the food in the United States never gets eaten. For eye-opening proof, visit your kid's school cafeteria or your grocery store's expansive salad bar just before closing time. So this article clearly is about fighting food waste. The author is trying to persuade the readers to learn to love leftovers, use leftovers, and not necessarily waste food. We're noticing that while the text in orange includes a bit more opinion than the previous article, showing that the author is trying to persuade the audience to do something differently, the text in red still shows that the author is careful to support the claims. Okay, so it's not just opinion, leaving the audience to wonder, well, how does the author know? Or what is the author's point? If we include these facts, these statistics, this evidence, then we're really showing our audience that you should listen to what I'm trying to persuade you to think or do differently. It's important. So if you'd like to continue following along with me, you need to click this link in the video. I'm sorry, in the slideshow for my video narration. So I'm going to stop this video right here, and I'll be back in a moment.